And it gives me great pleasure this afternoon to introduce you to my friend, Vicky Warwick-Jones.
Oh, no pressure. Oh God, there's people looking at me. Oh no, I'm just going to have a sip of my squash. I'm still nervous, see I'm shaking. That should be something other than squash. Yeah, when I first met Mike, I didn't even want to stand up and say who I was, what my name was, what my business was. And I'm probably quite well known by people as being the businesswoman without business cards. I have actually got some today. Mike asked me, have you got a business card? Yep. He said, can I have one? I said, yeah. I haven't gone with me, but I'll bring you one at some point. And it's happened probably over the years. I've known Mike loads of times. So I just think I've got quite a long name. You'll find me. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about who I am. I have got a topic. It's about juggling our lives. And yeah, I have got juggling balls. I may have to ask our magician to help me out a little bit. Because we all juggle everything. Everything we do, we're juggling with something else. We're all different people with other people, if that makes sense. And I hope I give you something to take away, even if it's just how not to do a keynote speech. That at least is a tip for you. So, as Mike says, my name is Vicky Warwick-Jones. I'm a mum, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a girlfriend, I'm a therapist, I own my own business, I'm a beauty therapist for my sins. I've been in that business for about 14 years now. I used to work in finance and I just decided I wanted to do something completely different, and it is completely different. I'm also a student. Yeah, I know what you're thinking, I'm a mature student. I'm not a child student. One of the most important things I am is I'm a dog mother. And anybody who knows me or has dogs, if I see a dog, I'm at it. The guy who usually brings his dog isn't here today either. Oh. So, as I say, we all juggle lots and lots of things in our lives. Whether you have your own business or you work for somebody else, you've got to fit that in with everything else in life. And as Mike, the Time Doctor, says, you have to get that balance right, because your family don't like you if you're out all day, every day, working. Equally, your family don't like you if you're not earning money and taking them on holidays and going out for meals, buying them shoes and all those sorts of things.
And handbags.
And handbags, yeah, handbags. So I like to think of life, we do use the analogy, juggling. And I've got 3 balls here. Don't be scared. So I like to think of life as juggling, and it's not always easy. It is something you can learn to do, but you can also fail at it. I was going to play a little video at the end of my talk today, but we haven't got any technology, so I'm going to put it on the Facebook group, if that's okay. Something to give you a bit of a giggle. So, with juggling, we've got 3 balls. Ball number 1 is what I call the personal ball. So this is you, your family, your partner, your kids, your dog and other animals, your house, your car, your holidays. It's literally everything that you want to do in life with the people that you care about. As I say, I've got 2 girls. I haven't said that yet, but I have now. I've got 2 girls, and they like nice things. We've just booked a holiday to Barcelona, so they're quite happy about that. I think I'll be drinking quite a lot dealing with my 2 girls. They're 15 and 24, so they're a little bit of a nightmare at times. And thank you, Ian. Yes, I don't look old enough to have a 24-year-old. That is amazing beauty therapy and looking after myself. I'm just lucky. Yeah, because I saw. So yeah, I've got my 2 daughters who are sent to try me every single day. but I'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit further on. So your family, your personal ball is quite easy to deal with. Most of the time you can keep everything going. You do have your little ups and downs where you walk into your kitchen and you've got a leak and you've got a meeting to get to, or the dog throws up and you've got clients you need to go and see. But on the whole, you cope with your life. Your second ball is the really, really important one for keeping ball number one happy. Ball number two is the money ball. We all have to have this one. It's your job, your business, your career, basically what brings in your money. And we all need that, because even if you don't go on fancy holidays, you don't like nice handbags or bright red shoes, you need to eat, you need to house yourself. We all have to pay the bills. And I'm guessing that's why we all have to do what we do, whether it's a job or whether you've got your own business. You can manage two balls quite nicely. Oh, I'm going to have to do this, aren't I now? Hey! Put them down there. You can manage that quite easily most of the time. There are those times when you have to prioritise one over the other. There are times when you can't be balanced. You've got a deadline that's coming in, and if you don't meet that deadline, you're not going to get paid. Therefore, you can't pay your mortgage, and you're going to worry. So you might have to put that extra time in to your business. Equally, there's times when personal stuff happens and your job, your business has to be put on the side a little bit. For example, kid falls down the stairs, breaks an arm, needs taken to hospital. You have to phone somebody and say, I'm not going to be there. I hope I haven't just cursed anybody, because we've not had that happen. We've had worse. So we have got those times when you have to do a juggling act. Most of the time you can manage these things. But what happens when ball number three comes in? What is ball number three? Ball number three is the serious stuff ball. And I'm not going to juggle because there's too many of you here and I'll drop them. And there's a magician sat here, so I'm definitely not going to juggle. But what are the things that happen in ball number three, the serious stuff? It can be a surprise. It can be a nice surprise. It can be a not so nice surprise. It can be a challenge, an exciting challenge. It can be something really not nice that you've got to deal with. It can be a problem that has to be dealt with. And what happens with ball number three, with the serious stuff, is it takes your attention away from your personal life and your business, your work life. It can take time away just a little bit, take your focus away. Equally, it can completely stop number one and number two happening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you a little bit about me and part of my story, and hopefully give you some tips on juggling. So I'm going to take you back to October 2014. I was running my beauty therapy business. I had just started a network marketing business to complement, so I was trying to learn about that. I was running business networking events, usually about 2 a week. Only one was a breakfast one because it was just too early. I had to get people there, market it, talk to people, get them there, and then host the meeting. That was the easy bit. I was trying to be the best girlfriend in the world, like not cancelling dates because I was tired, not moaning about not wanting to go and see certain films, trying to do that, and dealing with my girls. Now at the time, Rhiannon was 21. She was studying for her degree at the University of Warwick. She didn't live there. She lived at home because she has quite major health issues. And when I say we had a crisis every day, that would be a good day, one crisis. We'd have 2 or 3, and it would range from something to do with her health, something to do with her uni work, or just because it was Thursday. So I would get phone calls all the time. Text messages, when are you back, I need you. And then my 15-year-old was 11 at the time, and she went from lovely, lovely young lady to the child of the devil, as teenage girls tend to do. And I was doing it all. And people would say to me, you're doing really, really well. You're coping brilliantly. Look at all the stuff you do. Inside, I was screaming. I was so unhappy. I was exhausted. I felt useless because of how I felt about what I was doing. That analogy of the swan, to everybody else, it looked like I was doing okay. Underneath, I was like this. A few people knew how I felt, but not many. I was really, really fed up, unhappy, saying yes to this client, yes to that client, yes, I'll do this, oh yeah, I can cover that, and just doing it all. And it wasn't very good. On the one Thursday morning, I woke up with a headache. Not a take paracetamol, have a drink and get on with your day headache, but has somebody just bashed me over the head with a baseball bat headache. But I was running a networking meeting that day and I had other things to do, so I just got on with it. I took a lot of paracetamol and it didn't help. By day 5 of this headache, I couldn't see. I actually blacked out a few times. I wasn't eating. I was taking too many painkillers. My partner, Mark, I'm glad he's not here because he'd be like this in the back. He had a cold, so he had man flu. So while he was dying with his cold, I was walking around like couldn't bear to put my feet down on the ground, couldn't bear to lie down, sitting down hurt. But I just told him I had a headache. After 5 days, I thought, I think this is a bit silly now. I should go to the doctors because I feel rubbish. Went to the doctors and I was sent straight to hospital. They suspected I had a bleed on my brain, which is scary for anybody. But when I actually lost my grandmother at a very young age to a brain hemorrhage, so within my family, it was panic stations. Scans and tests I had were inconclusive. So I was told, we need to do a lumbar puncture. Has anybody ever had a lumbar puncture in here? It's horrible, isn't it? Yeah. I don't like needles. I'm like this when I have a blood test. I'm like, just get on with it. So the thought of having a needle put into my spine terrified the life out of me. And I was this close to getting up and walking out the hospital until he said, if you leave here and you've got a bleed on your brain, you might not be alive in 24 hours. And it's like, oh, okay, I'll have this needle. Did you have a really horrible headache after having your lumbar puncture?
I've got the same as you, yeah.
Yeah. They said to me before they did it, you're going to have a headache afterwards. And I said, that's fine. I've had a headache for 6 days now. That's okay. You know about a lumbar puncture headache. I lay down flat for 10 days, couldn't move. As you can see, I didn't die within 24 hours. I didn't have a bleed. I didn't have MS. I didn't have all the other things that they were testing me for. I was basically knackered, which is really embarrassing to have all these tests done because I was tired. I had a virus that if on day 1 of feeling unwell I had said, do you know what, I'm going to take some time off, I probably would have been absolutely fine. But because I carried on, it was attacking my body and it was attacking me and I was just knackered. I was lucky in that people like Mike and other guys I knew ran the networking meetings for me. My beauty therapy clients were brilliant. They'd known me a long time and they just said, get well. I had to really think about what was important. When your child says to you, are you going to die today? It makes you feel awful because they shouldn't be asking you questions like that. And for a good few months, Izzy, my youngest, was so anxious that anywhere I went, I was going to drop down dead, even though I said, no, I'm absolutely fine. I had to make changes. I couldn't carry on with everything that I was doing. It wasn't fair on them. It wasn't fair on me, but it wasn't fair on, everybody around me. I turned into a really horrible person. Mike obviously didn't see that bit.
People have been nice and not told you.
Mark and I split up, and that was horrible, but I was vile to him. My parents said, you're just being awful, and the girls were I had no friend, nobody wanted to spend any time with me. So I had to make changes. So the first thing I did was I stopped organising and running networking events. I quite enjoyed doing it because it got me out my comfort zone. This is actually the first time I've stood up and spoken at anything since doing those, really. I did quite enjoy it, but something had to go, and that was taking time away from my business and my girls. I never go out looking for clients. Sometimes now somebody will phone me and say, oh, can you fit me in for such and such? And I'm like, yeah, because I plan my diary so strictly now. Because you have to look after yourself, because who's going to pay those bills if you're gone, and who's going to look after your kids? Everything is just... Well, it's scary stuff when you're faced with that kind of thing. Just keeping an eye on the time. I won't be able to talk for the whole time. So, where are we now in 2018? Well, I've got a new number 3 ball. Strangely enough, I've decided to go back to school. I'm on year 1 of 4, possibly 5 years worth of study to become a counsellor. For people in the room who know me really well, we've had some pretty horrific things happen within my family to one of my daughters, and people need help to help themselves. You can't just fix something like that. You have to make those changes, and I just really want to help people. Being a therapist, you hear all sorts of things from people, so to learn the skills and the tools to help them help themselves, to me, is really, really, really important. I ummed and ahed about going back to college for months because I thought, what am I doing that for? But as soon as I got there, I love it. I'm in the right place. So things obviously have to change a little bit, because I don't want to be in that position where there's too much on my plate again. So the girls are older. Rhiannon is an incredibly clever girl. She's about to start doing a PhD. Don't know where she gets her brain from. It's not her mother. Certainly not her dad, though. So, my other daughter, Izzy, is 15, and yeah, there's nothing else I need to say about that. She's 15. Good thing Mark and I got back together when I became a nice person again, and we do things like this morning. We had a couple of hours, so we took the dogs out for a walk, and you appreciate that the sun's shining. It's cold, but the sun's shining. My beauty business still carries on the way it is, but I don't actively go out, as I say, getting clients. I don't promote a network marketing business. I use some products, but I don't promote as a business. I try and learn to say no to things. I obviously wasn't thinking about that when Mike asked me to stand here and talk, because you have to take away some of the things that might stress you out. I'm not too stressed right now, because that increases things as well. It increases your stress levels, doing things that you're not sure about. But equally, sometimes doing something that you're not sure about is one of the best things that you could do, and just stepping out your comfort zone. So I know my limits. I know what I can do, and I know what I can't do. I listen now. If I'm tired, I'll go and have a lie down in the afternoon. I'm not bothered. I'm not bothered if I've got an hour free. I'll go and have a snooze in the afternoon. It's fine. My girls do take the mickey out of me that I go to bed early at night, but it's great. Lying in bed and watching TV is great. Because you've got to look after yourself, because you can't look after other people. A lot of people do talk about, when you're on a plane and the oxygen masks come down, you put yours on before you help anybody else, because you've got to help yourself before you can help other people. So, what do I want you to think about today? Well, think about learning to know what your limits are. And if you do feel that you're at that point that too much is happening and you can't cope, talk to somebody. Time Doctor's quite a good person to talk to. Karen would be a good person to talk to. Talk to somebody and say, I'm not sure what I'm doing here. I'd maybe need somebody to sit down and give me a bit of advice. Eliminate toxins. Get rid of the things that are unhealthy. So running around doing stuff that you could get somebody else to do. Like now my 24-year-old drives my 15-year-old around. It's great. I don't have to do the driving around all the time. If somebody offers to cook you a meal, have it. Go and have a meal. You don't have to do everything. Accept challenges. Think about the challenges that are coming your way. Think about what it would do for you. And if it's something that would really help you or make you feel good, give it a go. What's the worst thing that could happen? I used to run away from everything. I wouldn't have stood up and said who I was or what my business is, let alone stand here and talk for however long it's been. Challenges can be frightening. They can really throw your life off balance, but they don't need to be. The scary challenges don't need to be the end of life. It just means you might have to evaluate something and change things slightly. Accept those challenges, as I say, accept them and go with it. And have fun. Why are we all here? We go to work to earn money, or we run a business to earn money, to spend time with our families, because that's who we care about. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't get out of bed and go and work really, really long hours just for myself. I'd think, I'm just going to stay in bed today. I'm tired. We do it for other people. And that's what I've always done. Everything I do has always been about other people. So you've got to learn to look after yourself. I think that is all I'm going to say at the moment, because mine's gone blank, because the camera's out. I hate the camera. As I say, I've got a little video that I'm going to put on the Facebook group. I'm not going to put these all up together because that will just embarrass myself. Thank you for listening, and I hope something has made a little bit of sense to you, or you've got something to take away with you. Thank you.